Hi, and welcome to Healthy Canadians, your space for nuanced conversations and expert insights about the health topics that matter to all of us. I'm your host, Megan Beahen. If you're a skincare or makeup girly like me, this conversation is for you. Today I'm talking to Nibal Saikali, Senior Regulatory Policy and Risk Management Advisor at Health Canada. She's helping to keep our cosmetics safe in Canada. She's going to provide us with tips on purchasing products, how to read labels, what ingredients to look out for, and what to do if you have a problem with a product. Although Healthy Canadians is brought to you by Health Canada and the Public Health Agency of Canada, what we discuss won't always reflect the official positions or policies of the Government of Canada. But that's okay. These are conversations, not news releases. Okay, let's talk about cosmetic safety. Hi, Nibal. Welcome to Healthy Canadians. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
So today we're talking about cosmetic safety, and I am super excited about this episode. I've been calling it the makeup episode because I'm a huge makeup tutorial fan. I love get ready with me videos. I also turned 40 semi-recently, so I'm like super into all of these products. But cosmetics are way bigger than just makeup. What are cosmetics?
So cosmetics are products that clean your skin or improve the skin texture, or they can change it. So for example, the soap you use to wash your hands, the shampoo you use for your hair, the facial cleansers, these are cosmetics. There's also the makeup, which everybody knows that these are cosmetics. There's also your nail polish, your hair dye. So these are all cosmetics.
Okay. So things that you use on the outside, they're not things that you ingest.
Absolutely. So cosmetics are not to be ingested. They work superficially on your skin or hair. There's a slight exception, which is tattoo inks, and these go like slightly below your first layer of skin. But these are very specific products.
Okay, cool.
Very specific types of cosmetics.
Okay. So today we're going to talk about buying these products, using these products. We're going to get into some tips and some myths for people. And we're also going to talk about the system that keeps them safe. But the good news up front is that we can rest assured cosmetics are very safe in Canada, right?
Of course. Canada has one of the strictest regulations for cosmetics in the world. We review when a company wants to sell a cosmetic in Canada, they have to tell Health Canada about this cosmetic. They send us a form with the ingredients of this product, and that we have labeling requirements to make sure people are safe when using it. So that with all these requirements, cosmetics in Canada are safe.
Okay, we're not looking at whether they work well or do what they say they do, right?
Yes. So for cosmetics, it's a matter of safety. We're not looking for efficacy. So Health Canada's job is to make sure cosmetics that are sold on the market are safe. But if you're looking for efficacy, you're going to want to you're going to want to see a natural health product number, which is an NPN number, or a drug number, which is the IN.
Okay.
So these products tell you that these numbers tell you that this product has an effect, and this effect has been validated by Health Canada. So if you're looking for something to treat a therapeutic that's going to treat a skin condition, or like if you're looking for sunscreen, you're going to want to see those numbers there to make sure it works.
And what is your job? What is your role at Health Canada?
So I work in Health Canada in consumer product safety, and my main file is cosmetics.
Okay, cool. I think people are going to be really jazzed about this episode because there's lots of people like me, and I think maybe like you, who are makeup and skincare enthusiasts. And I know there's lots of data out there about how much people have been buying makeup, skincare, other related cosmetics. One stat I have here in front of me is that beauty and skincare sales rose by 18% in Canada in 2023. That is huge. Like, what a humongous industry, right?
Yeah.
And, and I'll speak from my own experience as a consumer and enthusiast, that there is so much information out there now about makeup, skincare, cosmetics, especially on social media. If you're on social media, even if you're not, you walk into a store, there is so much information from a marketing perspective, and particularly around like ingredients, right? And so I will say that I find it like a bit, even with all the information and tutorials, it can be really overwhelming for someone to buy a product and know, is it safe? Does it work? Is this the right product for me? So, and your job is not to decide whether it's the right product for you, but I was thinking it'd be helpful if we sort of walk through like what a shopping experience is and what someone should be looking for.
Social media has like exploded. I feel like that cosmetic market,
yes.
And there's so many options now. Compared to like 20 years ago.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Yeah, we have access to so many more products. So it's like it's hard to decide because you're faced with like just for a lipstick, there's like a lot of options.
Exactly. So when you walk into a store or you're like online and you're debating between like a skincare product or a makeup product, you're picking up a product, like what do I look for on the product or a label or the marketing?
Exactly. So the first thing we want to look at the label, the product label. I know it's obvious, but what is the product doing? So in our regulations, the product should have a purpose. So is it a skin wash? It should say what it does. And then when you usually on the back of it, there's a list of ingredients, and these are listed from the higher concentration to the lower concentration. So you can look at those and see what kind of ingredients they're in. If there's ingredients you usually avoid or you would like to avoid, you can check those ingredients and make an informed decision. And also, cosmetics must have avoidable hazards. So they should have, if there's some way where you could, they should have some. On the label, some directions of how to use it safely and properly, and some warning statements, which you usually see on you've probably seen already on a lot of products.
Mm-hmm. Are there any like ingredients that I should automatically pay attention to, or is that kind of just based on my own individual like allergies?
Exactly. So what works for you basically might not work for someone else. So it's gonna differ a lot from one person to the other. Some of us have more sensitive skin. Some have some different skin needs or conditions. So based on that, I think everybody can look at the label and make that informed decision from themselves. And if you're not sure, you can always check with your health practitioner or dermatologist to make those informed decisions.
And right away, I know if I'm buying this product in Canada that I should right away feel safe about it, right? Like there's no labels I need to pay attention to say like, okay, this is Health Canada reviewed, approved.
No, for cosmetics, we're not really doing an approval system because basically it's a post-market system. So the company just has to tell us that I'm putting this product on the market. Okay. They send us information about the product, which we have, and we follow a risk-based approach. So if we have reason to think that this product might cause has a risk or it might cause harm, we will follow up and take some action on that and compliance actions.
That makes sense. What about following directions? How important is that?
Very important. I cannot stress this enough.
It seems obvious, but honestly, when I thought about it, like there are some certain products that you really want to, I mean, okay, all products we should follow the directions, but there's certain, you could have like a not great outcome, right? If you didn't.
Yes. If you're, let's say, overusing a product with alpha hydroxy acids, you're going to have, if it says use it once or twice a day, if you're using once or twice a week, if you're using something like that every day, you're going to have a lot of redness, irritation, because these are products that are like peeling the top layer of your skin, the dead skin there.
And I think we all have stories of friends we know of people who have been too enthusiastic about.
Yes. Yeah, you use it the first time, it works great. You're like, yes, I'm going to keep using this.
More is better, but more is not always better.
Follow the directions
for
safe
use. Yes.
And also for hair dyes, for example. There's steps to follow there. So it's important to open the pamphlet, read the steps. And sometimes now there's like videos where the company sends you to follow the video. So it's easier for those of us that don't like to read long
yeah, for sure. And what about doing a patch test? Is that something you'd recommend?
Yes, so
to do
this
with
is something you probably a lot of us have seen with the hair dyes. So doing a patch test, and this is something that's very important to do when it's a new product. So to avoid having a full-blown reaction when you apply a lot of the product at the same time.
So maybe you can just walk us through, how do you do a patch test?
So you can start with washing the area. Choose a small area like the inside of your arm or behind your ear. wash it with soap and water, apply a bit of the product on there, and you wait 24 hours. And after 24 hours, if you notice there's redness, there's irritation, or some blistering where you applied the product, then you know that you shouldn't be using it. And if it's okay, then that tells you that you're not going to be sensitive to ingredients in that product.
And do you recommend doing that for all products? Like, I'm going to be honest, I'll do it for like certain products that I know have like certain ingredients, but like I probably wouldn't do it for like, a lipstick.
Yes, it's going to also differ from one person to the other. Some of us are more sensitive. So if you know yourself, you're more likely to have reactions. It's probably a good idea to try it for every product. But it's a personal preference. Yeah.
So Health Canada has a reporting system, and I know that's one of the ways that we, help ensure cosmetic safety. How do I know, let's say I do a patch test and I have a reaction to it. How do I know it's either because I have very sensitive skin, which I do, or it's actually a problem with the product? Like, how do I know whether to report it to you or not?
I think when in doubt, report.
Okay.
We want to hear from you. We want to hear from you, and this helps us make decisions. If we're getting a lot of basically reports about a certain ingredient, we will follow up with the company, see what's causing those reactions.
Okay.
So it's a pretty it's online. There's a consumer incident report form. It's easy to follow. You give some information about the product. If you want to take pictures of the product where you purchased from, that helps us a lot for follow up. And if you want to take a picture of the irritation, or that also kind of gives us something to follow up with. And there's actual people that receive these that we work with. They receive these incident reports. We follow up with the companies. So it's important. I know it's not nobody thinks about it usually.
Yeah.
And, there's also another thing you can do is there's on the cosmetic, usually there's a place where you can follow up with the company.
Okay.
And this is something you can also do where you can reach out to them and say what happened to you when you used all cosmetics are obliged to have contact information for consumers to be able to reach the company.
Okay.
So yes, I would very much encourage you to reach out to Health Canada, fill out the consumer incident report form. And we will be happy to follow up and see, if there's something we can do about that product.
That's very cool. I totally agree. I feel like it's not like super intuitive if you have a reaction to something to think, I need to report this to the company or even to Health Canada. Yeah. So we'll drop the link in the show notes for that report. You know what my instinct is to go on the website where I bought the makeup and leave a review.
A bad 1-star review.
Or a bad review, or just like a review for other people, because that is such like the system of makeup now, right? Is that like you're helping other people by describing your own experience. So put that on your checklist. If you're leaving a review, also let's report it to the company.
Yeah, it doesn't take a lot more time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So when we're shopping, we're online or we're in person. I think if you're shopping for cosmetics, there are some certain labels that are very common in marketing these days. So I'm hoping we can go through some of them. My favorite one is natural.
I love this. I love this topic. Okay. So, and it's because you see it so much now, and companies are using a lot of these marketing terms, natural, chemical-free, for their products. And in reality, these are just market claims. There's nobody checking if it's natural. And also, natural does not mean it's safer.
Right.
Yes, we have a lot of examples of natural things.
Yes, talk about that.
Yes, like poison ivy, lead is very natural. Do you want that in your skin? Do you want that in your body?
Yeah.
Like, for example, the old ways of preparing eyeliner kohl is by grinding minerals, and those minerals had lead, and over a long time of exposure, they led to lead poisoning.
Wow.
So, natural is not always safer. Some synthetic chemicals are much more stable and cleaner. They wouldn't have those natural heavy metal impurities, for example. So yeah, take it with a grain of salt, natural.
That's good advice. We're not saying don't buy natural products. We're just saying, like, when you see that label, you can continue to ask a few more questions,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And we actually did an episode, if I can just plug it, from season 2 about environmental chemicals. So if anyone's listening and they want to hear more about chemicals that are around your house or outside, you should listen to that episode too, because we get into those details. Okay, here's my other favorite label, clean. Clean makeup, clean skincare.
That's another one where it doesn't mean anything. I think what companies are using it for is like to say that this is sustainable, sustainably sourced, or this is the ingredients are more natural driven. And again, there's nobody it could be true, but there's nobody or Health Canada is not verifying those claims because these are more marketing claims.
Okay. Let's talk about a couple of the ingredient ones that we see commonly. Paraben free.
So parabens, the controversy around them is that they mimic estrogen. So at certain doses, but and companies have been using that paraben free, and they're used usually as preservatives. So they would remove the parabens, replace it with some other preservative. You would hope. Preservatives are very important for cosmetics.
Yeah, we need preservatives.
We'll get into that.
Yeah.
So when it's paraben free, it's probably replaced by another preservative because it's important for the function of the cosmetic to have preservative there. When you use a preservative, it's a very small amount, and think of the amount of cosmetic you use at a certain time. So we don't have too many concerns with the free. It comes down also to a personal choice. If you want to avoid the parabens, sure, you can look for paraben free, but just know that there's probably another preservatives in there.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of products have parabens in them generally? All kinds?
Yes. It's a very, 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 very common preservative.
So let's talk about sulfate free. What are sulfates used for in products?
So sulfates are found in a lot of your soaps, in shampoos, anything that lathers. So sulfates give you that nice foam that you think about when you're like using shampoo or soap. And so it's used a lot in those types of products. Even your dish soap has sulfates. It could be irritant to some people, so a lot of companies are staying away from that to avoid the irritation in people.
So is that why they're marketing it, that it's like sulfate free? Because people know that it might irritate their skin, or they've already had a previous experience with
exactly
it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I think the same is probably could be said about being talc free. I brought some products in, and I can see one of the things on my product says talc free, and I do avoid it. I don't know, somewhere along my makeup journey I decided that wasn't good for me, but I honestly am not sure why. What is talc?
So talc is like kind of like a powder that's used in cosmetics. It's basically when you think of baby powder, that's talc. So talc is a bit different. Talc is irritant to the lungs when it's inhaled. Also, talc has been linked to ovarian cancer. So products that are used in the female genital area. We should avoid talc in those, and now it's not allowed in Canada. This is a recent update to our hot list. So the hot list now has an entry for talc, and it's prohibited in loose powder products, and it's also prohibited as for products that are used in the female genital area.
You keep mentioning the hot list.
Yes.
Which is a great name for a list, by the way.
Uh-huh.
And when we say it's hot, we mean hot in a good way or a bad way?
In a bad hot.
Like, it's not like the hot list. It's like, list.
These are products, these are ingredients that are absolutely, there's two types, absolutely prohibited. They're not allowed in cosmetics. And this is based on reviews and ingredient reviews.
Give me an example of something on the hot list that's like completely prohibited.
Okay, so those are ingredients where there's no safe limit. For example, benzene. There's some colorants like basic violet 1 or some of those ingredients. There's also ingredients that are prohibited because they're drugs by nature, and they should not be in cosmetics.
Oh, okay.
Like some estrogen products, some, for example, like testosterone products, like they should not be in cosmetics. So they're prohibited just because they have some drug effects.
So does the hot list also have ingredients that are allowed but only at a certain level?
Yes, so these are the restricted ones. And for example, I'm going to tell you is we talked about talc a little bit, but another one that's very common is formaldehyde.
Yes.
Yeah,
I just learned about formaldehyde at my hair salon the other day. I was shocked to know that is a possible ingredient.
Yeah, so that's another one where it's safe in certain amounts in certain conditions. So if it should not be inhaled. The danger with formaldehyde is when you inhale it. And for a while back, it was used in salons for hair straightening.
Yes.
And we were getting a lot of those incident reports. So we're getting back to incident reports. So incident reports from people who were straightening their hair, and then they were smelling the fumes from formaldehyde. And, they were getting irritated and weren't feeling well. So because of those incident reports, we were able to look into formaldehyde, and it was prohibited for use in those hair products when it's heated. However, it's still allowed in very small quantities in other products because it's used sometimes as a preservative for other functions. So when it's not subject to those for hair and heated, it's allowed and it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that example because one, it shows like a real way of like how the reporting system actually changed something, right? Like in real life. And also it's sort of an example of like how you can have an emotional reaction to a chemical. So I'm at the hair salon. My hairstylist was telling me this exact sort of scenario where they used to use it in straightening products. And I was like shocked about it. I was like, formaldehyde? Like, why would you put that on your hair? Like, for some reason in my mind, it sounds dangerous, right? But it's actually not, right?
It's very common. There's formaldehyde in everything.
Right. And so chemicals are not, we've talked about this before on the podcast, they're not always like good or bad or black or white, right? Mm-hmm. It's like there can be a small amount and it's like totally cool and totally safe.
Exactly. It's the dose that makes the poison, it's the route of exposure. And these are things that we look at for every chemical. There's a very in-depth assessment happening about the amounts that are available in cosmetics, the routes of exposure, the toxicology and all that. So for every ingredient that's on the hot list, there's those principles behind it for the restrictions or the prohibitions.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So if I'm like a person who wants to be really informed about what ingredients are in my products, I can go to the hot list myself, right? Like I can go to canada.ca, look it up.
Absolutely. It's available. You can say cosmetic ingredient hot list on Google and it'll take you there. And you can see all the list of ingredients. I think there's around 500 that are prohibited or restricted in Canada.
Cool.
And every year there's new stuff that comes out.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked a lot about buying products within Canada. There is, I would say, a trend about buying products outside of Canada as well now. So there's the K-beauty trend. There are lots of people on social media promoting getting products in Europe as well because you can get different stuff there. And I have personally done that. But what is, the things you need to be aware of if you're buying products that are not within Canada?
The thing to keep in mind, though, when you're shopping from an international website or buying stuff internationally, is that every place has different regulations, and some of them might not be as stringent as Canada. So keep that in mind. If the product's available, doesn't mean it's necessarily safer. And also, if you want to do follow-up later with the company or with Health Canada, if there's something that's not available here, we might not be able to do that proper follow-up on it.
Okay.
So it's something to keep in mind when you're buying things internationally.
Okay. So we're not saying don't do it. We're just saying like
keep in mind the risk, keep in mind the regulations in that country, and make an informed decision.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, I have some questions about skincare, makeup, cosmetics, sort of tips. Okay. These are questions that I see a lot online, and that I have for myself. Okay, storing products. I'll admit I have an eyeshadow palette from like 2015. Good or bad?
Guilty. So yeah, when you think of your cosmetics and where they're sitting, most of us have our cosmetics in the washroom. And this is a damp and wet place and humid. So those are very conditions where bacteria can grow. And so it's important to store them in a dry place where we kind of lessen those chances of like mold or bacteria growing in it.
That's a good tip.
And this is why preservatives are important too.
That's why we need preservatives, so you
Yes.
can still use your palette from 2015.
Yes. So storing them, also when you're putting them on, make sure your hands are clean so you can avoid that cross contamination, because you never know where your hands were.
Right.
Yeah.
And brushes.
And brushes, cleaning them. Yes, I did this summer actually.
One time?
Yes. I cleaned up my makeup brushes. And the stuff that came out, like
I know, it's pretty scary.
Yeah.
Makes you want to do it more often, right?
Like that's else you can avoid the breakouts and stuff.
Right.
Because if you're using cleaner palettes and your brushes are clean, it's, yeah.
Okay, so keep it in a dry place.
Clean your brushes.
Clean it.
Wash
Clean
your
hands.
hands before. Another thing is for sharing makeup.
Yes.
I know some of us like.
I love sharing makeup.
I know. Sometimes I go to my sisters,
right?
Or, she's like, "Oh, you cannot try that."
Yeah, it's part of the experience.
Yes.
But
there's also risks that come with sharing makeup, or with buying makeup from secondhand. We see like those secondhand websites where it's like or buy nothing. I'm gonna get
right.
It's just because you don't know how the product was stored and who what went into it. So there's risks that are present when you're using makeup or sharing makeup. So just to be aware of those risks, and when you're not in doubt, just don't do it. Yeah. And also, if you look at your makeup and you notice, it's changed texture, it's changed color, it's separating. Maybe sometimes it could have gone bad. They do go bad, and it's better not to use it.
Just toss it.
Toss it, especially if something you've had from
2015. If it still looks good,
yeah.
Though,
if it has a smell or it changed texture, it's better to toss it.
Those are great tips. I think people honestly are really going to take away and they're going to use them. I would love to know, before we close, what brought you to this work?
That's a great question. Since I'm a girl, I know I've been fascinated with makeup and all the trends in fashion and all that. So I studied my backgrounds in organic chemistry, so that kind of led me into working with chemicals. And I started working with the cosmetics and in the regulatory aspect of it. And I love it. I feel like I enjoy my job so much. And I also enjoy that. And I appreciate that I'm working to keep Canadians safe. And I have a great team with me that also is very committed to the safety of Canadians. And so it's been such a pleasure being on this file, and I really enjoy it, and I will hopefully continue as much as I can.
That's so cool. I can tell you're very passionate about it. Okay, last question, and this is the most important one. What is your stranded on a desert island product you couldn't live without? It's a personal question. You can take a moment to think about it.
Okay, it's not a cosmetic, but it's sunscreen.
Sunscreen. Good answer from Health Canada. I totally agree. Not a cosmetic.
Not a cosmetic.
But even more important.
Yes, it's important to put your own sunscreen. If I were to have a second, if it's just a cosmetic item, I would have my eyeliner, because it makes me feel confident, and I like putting eyeliner on.
Yes, I love that. Nibal, thank you so much for joining us today. It has been an absolute pleasure chatting with you.
Pleasure is all mine, and I'm so happy to be here. Thank you very much.
Thanks for tuning into Healthy Canadians. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to click the like button below and subscribe to stay up to date on future episodes. Find us wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a review if you like what you've heard. For more information on the health topics that matter to you, visit canada.ca/health.